Banshees, or banshee, vengeful spirits obsessed with conventional beauty, whose tragic wailing song can send any unlucky listener to meet their maker a little faster than they might prefer. Ghastly babes of the woodless plains who float around aimlessly, mourning the loss of people who haven't even died yet because they love them so much. Sometimes I do that with my doggy. He's a cutie pie and I'm pretty sure he might never die. But I've noticed a pretty insane shift in how banshees work, especially with what their wails, screams, and dirges actually do. They've transformed from mundane fae spirits to ancient crying crones to beautiful but ghostly elven babes with a ragtime tune that ragdolls their foes. So today, during a particularly spooky month, I wanted to explore why banshees have become such sad sacks in the world of apparitions, what their purpose is in a super cool fun tabletop game that I play, where they have one of the strongest abilities in the whole game, and I want to figure out what they really were before they pulled a Danny Phantom and went ghost. They deserve to be a more interesting creature to interact with. I'm tired of just seeing one, casting silence on it, and then jumping it Jujutsu Kaisen style. We need some fun way to incorporate these incorporeal baddies, because not even D&D has tried yet in any of their actively published adventures. I think there was one in Dragons of Icespire Peak, but it's not in the preview and I'm not paying more than any amount of money for it to find out. It's not exactly a thrill ride. So let's get into it, and welcome to a video about banshees, which is actually the wrong plural to use for them. Banshee is an Irish Gaelic word with an unexpected meaning that I found really interesting. Also, Irish is a fucking insane language to an English speaker like me. Look at this word. That means photography. The name Banshee, spelled Bean Siege, means fairy lady, or lady of the fairy mound. The she part denotes any fairies, and sometimes people say Sith, like with Kate Sith, or fairy lords, I guess. Look at him wave his little wand around. There's the Aoshi, Kushi, Unsluashi, the she lords, this guy. And bean means lady. I love that. Ladies is Mana, which is why I said Manashi at the start. One of my favorite things about them is that they have varying sizes in different stories, and because fairies are normally short stacks, a banshee starts at 1 to 4 feet tall, thus smaller than a gobbo. Then the legend slowly shifted to them growing larger and larger up to like 8 feet tall, or maybe just floating. What if they were like this? Hell yeah. So these fae ladies kinda just hung around Ireland, being bean babes, doing God only knows what. The only time they ever really interacted with people was to sing or cry. Specifically to sing dirges. Real fucking bummer, these babes, like Orpheus when he got back from Hades. Although that's an inverse story where a bunch of babes ripped him to shreds because he'd rather play the lyre than have an orgy. So he kinda sang a song of his own sorrow and summoned his own doom. I get it though, Eurydice was a baddie, I mean, look at that. I'm sorry I don't have a good segue for this, so here's a cheap one. This video is sponsored by Dungeons of Drakkenheim. The world-renowned city of purple horror is on its way to Daggerheart. Their upcoming Kickstarter is a complete overhaul of the Dungeon Dudes campaign setting that embraces all the new mechanics and systems of Daggerheart. It'll launch on November 4th, early in the morning, but if you follow with the link below, you'll get up to 3 free minis added to your pledge, so jump on it. The environment systems of Daggerheart blend perfectly with a deeply corrupted city that actively works to thwart the player's every move. Drakkenheim also explores the fear system like a lot, with player choices, mutation systems, and corruption all forcing a balance between the dwindling hope and endless terror that you're running through. In any scene, the GM can strike with fear. They've also got a full faction system for the GM to keep track of the shifting politics in the world, and a buttload of new character archetypes and adventure sites to explore. Check it out, back it when they launch on the 4th, and back to the video. Banshee, on the other hand, sings songs to mourn those who just died, or those who will do that very soon. Their music is called keening, a lost tradition where old ladies would perform a sort of repetitive lament that involved a sort of sing-crying. Keening was a straight-up profession for a while. Like, imagine ordering a trio of grandmas to come cry at your funeral. It's kinda cool, but I'd rather go for a mariachi band instead, like a DJ. Wait, oh my god, you could do that with banshee. Like with a mariachi or DJs of the fairy mound. While keening, these ladies clasp their hands near their face, which has some weird tie to how banshees constantly comb their hair. Maybe it's just manic behavior because all they think about is everyone dying all the time. From what I read, keening ladies and the banshee is like a chicken or the egg scenario. It's hard to tell which came first. Somehow, this morning song devolved into straight up screaming, which is all they do in media right now. Like Teen Wolf, where there's a 16-minute compilation of a girl screaming to blast people back like 3 whole feet. Or in X-Men, where the dude that calls himself Banshee can use sonar to yell at the ground and fly. I feel like the concussive force of a living sonic boom would just break everything constantly, including Sega's bottom line. Heyo. But regardless, a banshee was often tied to a family that it lived near, and would only mourn the loss of those family members, which oddly made them more like a tutelary spirit. Not exactly guardians, clearly, because they aren't really helping all that much, but I get the sense that mourning comes from a banshee actually caring when people die, which means they aren't malevolent. They just wept for humans. Fairies don't exactly die all that often, and undead have an especially hard time dying a second time, so they cry. The weird thing, and the thing that makes them seem evil, is that a banshee will more often wail and lament before a person actually died. Like Bruno, if a portent foretells something bad will happen, it's really easy to blame the portent instead of the actual cause. So banshees generally have 2 types of keening. One where they can tell when a person is about to die from cancer, like when a dog starts panicking before you have a heart attack, and one where they immediately break down into tears the instant the last breath leaves that person. There's a story of a woman being visited by a banshee at 2 in the morning and then comes to learn that someone died at that exact time. In either case, oddly, the person dying or dead never hears the song. It's usually family or friends that the banshee visits, which is cool. Say a guy went off to war in a different country or on an epic journey in a far-off land, and the moment they got flattened by a rolling stone or gibbed by a landmine or die on the toilet, their family would learn from a banshee before they get the news in the mail days later. They're like a glorified courier pigeon with a fancy song. What are those called? Candygrams? I don't know.
Happy birthday!
Imagine having a big fat cry when your grandpa dies, and then a ghostly fae lady shows up outside the hospital window to cry with you. That's a homie right there. Before I get to the D&D part, I have this book of Irish legends, and the best story in it is how Thomas Connolly met the Banshee. If you read it plainly, it's a drunken dude recanting a story of how he walked down the road, saw a sad old lady with long hair, scared her while she was crying, which scared him, so he booked it down the road and immediately told his homie about how scary this old lady was. So now that we loosely know the nature of a banshee, region-bound ladies who cry all the damn time, let's look at the D&D variant. These hateful, wretched, ghostly monsters, whose visage is so overwhelmingly hideous as to petrify unlucky beholders like poor Thomas, rise from the corpses of wicked elven women as a curse for a poorly lived life. At least that's true for all the previous editions. It's really fucking funny how atrocious the first line is to read in the monster manual. Banshees are the undead remnants of elves who, blessed with great beauty, failed to use their gift to bring joy to the world. Thought that shit was fucking crazy, but then I read further where it says that they use their beauty for evil instead. That's hilarious. So if you're born conventionally beautiful, you owe the world a debt, and you're not allowed to be selfish lest you be damned forever to the life of a banshee. As a banshee, your new eternal life is fully stripped of joy. You are bound to your place of death, and you constantly vividly remember the agony of your own demise. And also now you're conventionally ugly. Fuck you, you shouldn't have been a pretty elf. The location binding kind of fits the original folktale, and the range of their place of death that they can move from is usually 1 to 5 miles. They also have a strong obsession with things that are pretty. I have no idea where that came from. It works like an inverse vanity, where they love to collect shiny bits and baubles like a crow would, but if they ever see their reflection, they go batshit crazy and start wailing. That whole existence sucks. It's a weird, tragic dead lady who floats around doing nothing but kinda offhandedly killing anyone she comes across. I doubt that they would realistically fight anyone unless you walk around covered in mirrors to piss them off on purpose. The new banshees in the new book are generally better, less based in beauty standards and vanity, and more in sorrow and bitterness. If you hoard or destroy things you consider beautiful, then you might become one, which I like a lot better. Also, now you can have a dude banshee, or a banshee of any species, which is... I mean, I like monster diversity, but that makes you a dude lady fairy. Fuck yeah, I guess. Nigh is the time for a swell of goblin menage. They also have a table of sorrows, things that a banshee might be compelled to do during its infinite afterlife, like haunting graves, visiting family members, seeking out heirlooms, tormenting the local 7-Eleven, collecting Mickey Mouse paraphernalia, and so on. One tiny note lost to the new editions is that a roaming banshee might slowly drain the life of flowers, insects, flora, and fauna around it, all of which denote their ghostly behavior a lot more than one that would be more fairy-like. Speaking of ghostly, what sets them apart from just being a ghost? Or sirens for that matter. They seem like a mishmash of those two ideas with slight differences. But I think the identity of a banshee might be too strong for them to just possess people, which is the main ability that ghosts have that they don't. And the purpose of their song is starting to feel like the opposite of a siren. They don't crave death and they don't feed, they just scream cry. But this is D&D, a game where combat must be had, dice must be cast, and all the monsters must be slayable. Which brings us to what a banshee is capable of if you draw your sword on one of these forlorn fortune tellers. They are tough to take down, being resistant or immune to almost all conditions and damage types aside from, I guess, just divine magic and force damage. It's pretty crazy. But before you even engage in combat with one, it knows where and what you are. When within a banshee's hunting grounds, it can detect all living things, so hiding from one would only work for a single moment. They also fly somewhat quickly, can phase through objects and hurt you with a gentle touch. When locked in combat, or when they're chillin', they can begin their trademark deathly wail, instantly killing anyone who hears it and is weak of body. In the 2014 version, and I think all the ones before it, that is a crazy ability. If some kind of giant titanic demon monster flubs a constitution saving throw, it's dead. Their only other move is their ugly ass faces. Also, haha, I found a typo in the new book. The old edition ability is Horrifying Visage, but the new one is just Horrify, but it still says Horrifying Visage. That's okay though, every book is bound to have typos, even my fantastic, amazing books, like Stibble's Codex, or Twisted Taverns, or Sunken Isles, which you can get on the Ghostfire website. They're all really good, I promise. So we've gotten through just about everything. Now let's put all the pieces together, and ask our first question. Should they be undead, or should they actually be fae? I would think only someone or something with fae blood can become a banshee, but to be damned to such a loathed existence is a special hellish afterlife in and of itself. So maybe whatever curse that consumes them slowly turns them into an undead. We might not even need a moment where they realize that they've died. Which brings us to a more important question. How does this curse happen, and how does it work? Is it born from obsession, jealousy, beauty, some external vengeance, or an action taken in their life? I would almost want to tie the curse of a banshee to their foretelling ability, especially since it was lost in D&D entirely. Also, since they were originally tied to families, I kinda want to use the cursed bride from Jujutsu Kaisen as inspiration. Maybe a banshee forms when one of the fae folk, including elves, gnomes, and adjacents, becomes obsessed with the humanoid or any creature, so they set out to protect that person or creature from anything that could harm them or bring them down, out of this sense of strange and twisted love, which leads them to use divination to help avoid their beloved's fate, which is inevitable and will happen, causing overwhelming grief to consume that fairy's soul. So they break, dying alongside their beloved while they sing a magical keening that transforms them into the tragic banshee. They are then cursed to haunt either the place of death or to haunt all blood relatives of their beloved. Another idea I had that ties to the whole beauty angle is a bit of a simpler one, where someone who is considered beautiful is eventually killed for it, with a banshee rising vengefully from their corpse not only to take revenge, but to protect other beautiful things from being destroyed in that same sacred place. Beyond that, I don't think this whole beauty angle is all that important, and it felt kind of like it was shoehorned into D&D for some strange reason. reason that I couldn't find. What a banshee should be is a lamenting oracle. So how should this wail actually work? Should it cause death like yodeling for aliens? Should it doom someone to death very soon? Should it be some form of magical mourning, or could it actually be a warning? I honestly think that they should have 2 or 3 options in the stat block. One that both foretells and quickly or instantly causes death, like maybe a curse that deals ticking damage instead of dropping listeners right away. Another that warns of death, not in the absolute, but one that works essentially the same as the spell Augury, warning of woes if one continues down a certain path. And then a third passive ability that isn't an action, where whenever a creature they care for, or a creature within their territory dies, it sings a song in that creature's name that all others in the area can faintly hear drifting through the wind. When confronted, I don't think a banshee should be a creature that you fight. They should add to the history of the region that they haunt, and could even be considered more of either a guide or a trap to avoid, since they can speak common and would know so much about the territory that they live in, essentially being a living tally of every time everyone has died. But disrespecting or dishonoring a banshee when you're speaking to it might cause it to cry and sing a song to your fellow adventurers of how you yourself died a tragic death at your own hand for threatening the fortune teller of doom. And that's the video. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it. Happy Halloween. Goodbye. But wait, I lied. I've been playing Halo these past couple days, and I completely forgot that they have my favorite banshees you can fucking zoom around in. Halo 1 has been actually kicking my ass. I do not remember it being this hard. I must have lost so many brain cells the past 10 years. Also, if you like beautiful dark shirts with amazing art on them, you might want to get a jump on Christmas gifting, because I have a merch shop that you should check out because it's good. And we're going to add 2 new designs really soon, so if you watch this in November, maybe they're there. You should go check, like right now. Okay, bye.